Okay. Okay, so welcome once again. We are going to, do I have any question there? We are going to be talking about, okay, I have a question. Is this going to be uploaded to YouTube? Hopefully, yes, we should upload this to YouTube. Positioning items in a flexbox, grid and layout. Okay, so we did that yesterday. So I'm going to upload the section we had yesterday so you could see what we did. Yes. Let's talk about responsiveness. What would make our code to not be responsive? How to fix it clear? Yes, today is all about responsiveness and we will go into that. What's the YouTube channel with Skill Americans or Zuri? What's the YouTube channel with Skill Americans or Zuri? I think it should be Zuri. I will find out and get back to you on that. But whichever it is, I'm going to drop the link and you would see the video. Question for responsiveness. Is it better style for mobile first or desktop? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. And okay, so let's just go right in. Just get started. I'm going to pick one of the assignments here and to go through it. Let me load that again. Okay. Can't hear you, Sandy. Sorry, can you hear me now? Yes, thank you. Okay. So I'm going to oh, please, can you mute yourself, please? Please, can you mute yourself? Please, please. Okay. So this is the design we are going to work on and we'll try to make it responsive. And first of all, what is responsiveness? Why are we working on responsiveness? So we usually when you design, or let's put it this way, when you implement a web page, it's usually for desktop view. But in most cases, we have different kinds of view. We have view for smaller sizes like this, an iPad or your phone, right? So those are different views, which is different from your desktop view, which is your laptop. So responsiveness simply means you making sure that you implement the web pages such that it's still appealing on different screen sizes, right? So you have to build web pages, applications such that it's okay to view them on different sizes. That's what we mean by responsiveness. It responds to different sizes, different screen sizes, so to say. So that's what responsiveness is all about. And I'm just going to do this quickly and show you how to make your web page responsive with this example here. Okay, so for the question that was asked earlier, if I think someone asked which one is the best practice to which one is the best to start? Is it for mobile first or for desktop? So for me, I'm going to just create a folder and get started. Let me call this responsiveness. Just a folder name. And I'm going to open this with VS Code. Okay. Please, you can drop your questions in the course of the live section. Okay, so for me, I prefer to work on desktop, to start with my desktop view first before other screens. So it depends on which one you are more convenient with. Some people start with smaller sizes, they build to a desktop view. I start with, it's basically personal preference. I start with a desktop view, then I build to smaller sizes. So I'm going to have my index.html. I believe everyone knows how to set this up by now. I'm going to do this quickly. Okay, I'm just going to populate this. Any questions? Okay, so I'm just going to title my document, my file, so to say, responsiveness. Just any name that suits you. So we're trying to work on this, right? And from what I see here, we have on the body, there's a background on the body, and we have this image here. We have the content on the right-hand side. I have a logo there, and I have footer right there. So based on schematics practice, that means I can see my logo should be on my header because I have a logo. So this is the header, this is the main, and this is the footer. So I should have that structure on the body of my HTML tag. So I have a header, so I'm going to have a header tag, and after the header, I should have the main section, and after that, I would have a footer, right? Okay. Oh, that should be fine. Okay. Next, after that, on the header, we have a logo, right? And I have to bring in the images, right? The logo image, I have to bring this image, and also the background image right there, okay? So I already downloaded them. So I'm just going to go to my download, pick them up, and add them to my files. I think I have them on my download already. And if they're not there, I could just download them right away from the style guide. This is images. Okay, so I'm going to download this. I'm going to download the logo. I'm going to download this image here. I think I've had all of them. So please, can you mute yourself? Let me see. I'm muting this. Please, can you mute yourself? Okay, sorry for that. I just had to mute some people so that they won't have to interrupt our work. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I have everything on the download, and I'm just going to copy them to my files. The files I just created on the desktop, I'm just going to paste them there. Okay, and this should be on, I should have them right there, yes, on my file structure. So right now I have the logo, and I'm just going to add it as an image on the header tab. Logo this. I'm going to use the alt attribute, just logo, and I'm going to close the tab. Right, so this is on the header. And on the main, what do we have on the main? I have this image on the Left hand side, I have content on the right hand side. So I'm just going to add that immediately. I have the image on the left hand side, so I'm going to bring that in, which is this image. Close it up. I'm going to use an attribute, call it images. Right. And the one on the left hand side, sorry, on the right hand side, there are a lot of content there. So I'm just going to have a container called div. And I'm going to give a class name of content. Right. And what do we have there? We have the heading, build the community your fans will love, and this text here, and the button. Right. So we are going to add that. I'm going to use H2 for the heading there. Join the community. Join the community you love. Right. And the next one is the paragraph tag there. I'm just going to use some placeholder text there. Right. Okay. I think after the paragraph is the button. We have a button there. And what do we have there? We have register. Okay. Okay, so I have to link my style sheet, remember, to the HTML so that my styling would work. And I'll add the style sheet. Style sheet and the link. Okay. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop questions as we're working along. And on the footer, so the footer, we have the icons. We have these icons. We'll come to it. Let's just work on the styling for the header. So I'm going to split the screen so that we can see this, our styling. Okay. I'm going to arrange this. Okay. So a little bit of formatting for the body. We're going to use body H2 because the default margin and padding that comes with it. So we're going to remove that. We're just going to set margin and padding to 0. Best practice requires that you do this. Okay. And still on the body, we have a background. The background color of this is kind of purple. Let me see the design styles we have here. Design guide. It's a violet, so I'll just pick one of these. So that's for the body. The background color. If I check it and it's not the one, you could always change it. So that's one thing with CSS. You play around with it till you get what you want. So we have this. Let's check this with the live server and see what we have done so far. I'm going to open my work with the live server. See what I have. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. I have the logo right there. I have the image that I used on the main, and I have the content right below here. I have the content right below here. Okay, so we are getting there. And what do we have here? We have our logo to be a little bit, not too big. So let's work on that. Let's reduce the size of the image a little bit. And that's on the header, right? So I'm going to use header tag and mg to target the image, right? The image is in the container header. This is the image, it's in the container header. to the header and the image, right? The compiler interprets it as, okay, it looks at the header, the image in the header container. And we want to reduce the width a little bit, let's say 50%, and see what happens, right? Let's just see what happens to, oh, that's big. Okay, let me use pixel. That's too small. See right there? Too small. Okay, so I might want to use, let's use 10% and see what happens. Okay, I think it's reasonable. Let's see what we have here. Not bad. And it's not bad. Okay, so we can use that. And if we look at our design, remember we are working on desktop view first. Okay, and just to show you what that should look like, the difference between the desktop view and the mobile view. We have the sample right here, what it should look like. So this is the desktop design. This is what we're trying to do. This is the view. I mean, the image should be on the left-hand side and the content on the right-hand side, which should be different from the, this is still the same thing, and it should be different from the mobile view. This is the mobile view, like a smaller screen size, like a mobile phone, right? This is what the view should look like. So that's the difference. And I'm starting with the desktop view first. It's the same thing as the web view, desktop view or web view. It's the same thing. And the active state means that when you are maybe trying to click a button, something should happen, right? Or you're trying to click on the social link, you know, maybe you want to over on it, you should have some changes in terms of the colors and all the rest when it's active. So we are actually trying to work on the the desktop view right now. And this is what we have done so far. Okay, let's continue. And I can see that we have a little bit of space away from the walls. Compared to what we have here, it's too close to the wall. So let's add some space to the wall, right? And that should be on the body. I'm going to give a padding of 2 EM on the body, just to give some space. Okay, so I have some space, a little bit away from the walls. So that's what padding did. Next thing we want to do now is to add this image in the background, right? I can see this image here. You just see image there. So I'm going to add that to the background using background image style. I'm going to bring in the name of the image. I think it's BG, but it's there already. Okay, so I save and you see what we have here. Okay, so it's there, but it's kind of not how we want it. Is it how we want it? Let's see what we have here. Okay, I think we have this, and this. Let's see. I have this, and this. Okay, I think we can make do of this, or we could decide to still play around it a little bit by using background position center. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I think there was a little bit of change there. Or we should leave it the way it was. Background position center. I'll use background repeat, no repeat. It doesn't repeat itself. Another background size. Okay, let's use cover and see if there's going to be any change. Okay, I think it's better. I didn't get to see this very well. I'm going to try content. So that's one thing with CSS. You play around it till you get what looks like what is there. I think this is good. Let's just continue. If it doesn't look better, we could always come back to work on it. So after the logo on the header, what I have is the main, right, which is the image here and this here. And the image and the content here are both on the same line. I mean, they are aligned. Unlike what we have here, you have the image here and we have this down here as block. It shouldn't be so. We want it to be aligned. So to do that, we go to the main styling. Okay, I think I have a question. I think I'm supposed to take question. Let's continue. Could you go over getting the background image from a download? I don't know how or why you link the URL in the CSS. Could you go over getting the background image from the download? Okay, I don't know how or why you linked the URL in the CSS. Okay, yeah. Why? Okay, it's some people. Okay, I use the URL. The question, to get the question right, she's asking why we are using background image, the image here in the CSS rather than using an image tag here in the HTML. Okay, the reason why I did that is because it's on the body, right? And I will be able to handle it better on the CSS. I mean, there's a styling that does it better. If I have to use it in the HTML, I think I'll have to do a lot of tweaking so that it properly fits into the screen. So I prefer to just use it directly in the CSS. With the CSS, there are a lot of styling that could help me, position it the way it should be. Right, so that's why I did that. Okay, and the download, you go to the style guide. Please let me just put out through that quickly. You go to the style guide that's on the LMS right here, and you will have the list of what to download, right? I just opened this in the wrong place. Sorry for that. You would have the list of things to download, and once you download it, it's in your download section in your file explorer, just there. I've already copied mine. So you could go there, copy it, and add it to your file where you have your files. Where you have the HTML and the CSS file. You just copy it and put it there, and it will automatically be seen in among your files in your VS Code. Okay. So I hope I answered that. And okay, let's continue. We're looking at working on the main. On the main, you're trying to make the image and the text align, right? The image and the text align. We're trying to do that. They should be on the same line, not block. So to do that, I'm going to use display flex. Let's see what happens when I use display flex. I mean, let's see the action. Okay. So you could see that it moved from down here to here. So it's aligned, right? And I think the image is too big, right? So I'm going to reduce the image a little bit. And the image is in my main. So I'm going to tag. I could decide to give a class, give a class to the image and use it. I'll just give a class right now and call it mockup, right? Mockup image. I just gave a class to it and mockup image. So we're going to use that. and the image is too big, so I'm just going to reduce the width a little bit. I'm going to give the width of, let's say, 40% and see what that looks like. Okay, I think it's much better. We could always tweak it if it is too small. Let's work on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, what do we have here? We have this, build the community your fans will love. Okay. Sorry. Build the community. So this is a build the community your fans will love. Just to get that right. And I can see that the text there is big, right? And by the way, we need to bring in our Google fonts, because according to the style guide here, let's open it. It was indicated that there's a specific Google fonts you're supposed to use, right? So it's Poppins and Open Sans, right? So I'm just going to go to Google fonts and get those icons, those fonts rather, not icons. Google fonts, I have it here. And I'm going to search for Open Sans. Open Sans, yeah, there it is. I'm going to pick the first one, Light 300. I select this, and here it is. So you can add fonts to your HTML or your CSS. Either ways, you can add to both. You can add either to your HTML or your CSS. And to add to HTML, you copy this link tag. Okay, and by the way, we are supposed to add 2 fonts to it. We have Open Sans and Poppins. Okay, so I would go get my Poppins and add to the fonts I just selected. So I'm going to search for Poppins, and there it is. And I'll just select the first one. Okay, you see what just happened? I have Open Sans and Poppins added to what I can copy. Open Sans and Poppins. So I can decide to use this, or just copy this to add it in my HTML right here. Okay. Or I could decide to use it in my style sheet. Copy the import. So you could use in style sheet or you could use in HTML. You can use both. Right. Add it here. I just imported it. This is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to just use the one on the style sheet and take this off from the HTML. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And it was indicated that we should use, we're done with this, we should use a thickness, a width of 400, 400 or 600, 400 for Open Sans too. So I will just go here. On the list there, we have Open Sans with 300. So I'm going to change it to 400 because that's what is expected. And the second one, Poppins, I'm going to change it to 400. So I've gotten my Google font now. And all I have to do is to bring it in as a font family. I think it's for the body, we're supposed to use Open Sans. And the headings, we use Poppins. So I'm going to use Open Sans here. I don't think that should be included. So let's see. Open sans. Okay. So I just okay, so that's open sans. Okay. So I have that for my font. You could see that there was a little bit of change there. It isn't how it was before. It just changed a little bit. So I'm going to add a font size to this to make it bigger, you know, just similar to what we have here. So I'm going to increase the font size a little bit. And that is in the content, right? The content, the class content. So I'm going to use the H2 there, a font size of, let's say 50 pixels. And the color is white. This is big, right? The color is white. So I'm going to add the color of white. And the size was a little bit too big. So I'm going to reduce it to 40. Let's see what we have. Do the commenting, okay? Much better. And also, there's a little bit of space around here. Okay. So since we have what we call flex, we're using flex, I could decide to use on the main, okay, image, on the content. I'm going to use what we call flex basis on the content. Flex basis, I'm going to give it a 30% and see what happens. Okay, so it's too close to this, and 30% is too small. We're going to give 40% and use justify content on the main so that they could be justify content space between so that they could be spaced out. Yeah, so this is what happens with justify content space between. And it's a little bit still far apart, right? So let's see what we have here. So I'll bring the image, make the image a little bit bigger. Let's see. I will increase the image a little bit, or I'll just use flex basis too. I use a flex basis of, let's use 60%. Let's see what happens. It's too big. I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to use 50%. Okay, I think that's much better. And this too. Okay, is the space too much? Space is too much. So I'm going to reduce the flex basis for this a little bit. For the content, I'm going to use 30 rather. That's too much. 50, 45 should do. How would you make, how would you, okay, because I'll just continue and I'll look at the questions. And we're trying to play around with the content. And I said I should use 45 because that's too big, it's too much. Okay, so I think it's a little bit better. And I'm going to add a width to it. Let me use a width of 40%. I don't like, you know, thinking of what width to use. Just use anything. You could always change it. I think nothing happened. So I'm going to use 10% to be too small. And nothing happened because I'm using flex basis and width at the same time. So I have to decide on one. I'm going to use width rather than flex basis. I'm going to give it a width of 40%. Okay. Okay. And that happened. And I want it to look very similar to what we have here. This is close by. And I'm going to use, what should I do? I'm going to use we take out justify content. See what happens. It's too close by. Okay. I'm going to still use my width 40% and margin. So there are different ways to it. You could decide to, okay, so this is what happens. There are different ways to do it. Different ways. Okay, so that's the beauty of CSS. You play around it till you get what you want. And I want a little bit of space on top. I want it this way. I mean, this is a little bit, it's a little space from the top, it's not really a line here. Just I think 1 or 2 EM away from the same line here. So details is very important. I mean, the designer is going to give you a design and he or she expects you to follow with details. So I'm going to just do that exactly. So I just brought it down a little bit. And if that's not okay, I could decide to bring it down again. I think I prefer this. So build the community your fans will love, right? And what next? The next thing is this. The paragraph texting, just give a little bit of space away from the heading and I'll work on my buttons. So I'll do that quickly. I want the paragraph text, which is inside the content container. I'm going to give a little bit of margin. I'll rather use padding. It's advisable you use padding. There. I'm going to use a padding of 2 EM, 2 EM. Let's see what happens. If it is too much, I could always reduce it. Okay, so I think it's fine. And the color there, what color is that? A little bit gray, kind of gray, not white. So I'm going to use that. The color is gray, and see, I think it's a little bit of light gray, not so gray. Okay, I think this is fine. And the size, the font size, you see this a little bit small. Just reduce the size a little bit, just reduce the size a little bit. I'm going to just reduce the size a little bit. And let me use 18 pixel and see what happens. Oh, I think it's too big. And the color too, a little bit lighter. And I'm going to use 13 pixel. Oh, that is too small. I'll keep playing around it till I get what I want. I think this is better. And what do we have here? And there's a little bit of space. Right. By the way, I remember that, let's look at this, that the headings should have poppings, and I didn't add to that. In the content, the headings, we should add a font family to it, poppings. That's the name. You know, when we introduced the Google fonts, yeah. I think that's just to check the spelling, poppings, right? Okay. Okay, so it looks a little bit better. And this, I think that's, unless I just want to keep tweaking it. Let me reduce it to 14. And I could add a line height. A little bit of line height. Let me use 5 pixels. So this little bit of height around the lines. Oh, that line height is not good at all. I'm going to increase it to 15 and see what happens. Oh, that's still too small. And should I make it 25? Let's see what happens. Okay, there's a height there. And if I add more text to it, it might just come out the way we want. Or I could just reduce the size 40. Let me make it 35 and see what it looks like. Okay, see this is what it looks like. Okay, but it's not exactly like this. I mean, this is just 2 lines, and what I have here is 3 lines. No, I don't want that. So I could decide to reduce the font size for the heading from 40. Let's make it 35 because I want it to be 2 space, not 3. Okay, so this is much better. This is looking like it, right? Okay, let's go to the button quickly. I'm going to work on the buttons now. Sorry, this went off. The buttons is in the container, the content, the container. So I'm going to give a padding of 2 EM just to give space around the buttons. I would like you to see what happens. Notice there's a space now around the buttons. And the buttons is round, right? The edges is round. So we're going to use what we call border radius to do that. Border radius. Border radius of it is of a border radius of anything you like. Let's just start with 30 pixels and see what happens. Oh, okay. So it's curved, but I need to give a little bit of width. Let's give the width of 50%. If it's too much, I could reduce it. And this is too much. So I think I'm going to reduce the padding to 1 EM. The space is too much. Right. This is much better. Okay. I should reduce the width a little bit. I think it's too wide. So I'm going to reduce the width to 40. And I think the color there is purple. If I could remember, the color there is purple. Just going to add that quickly. Oh, sorry, not there. Purple, right. And what about the size? I think we're going to add a little bit of size to it, but okay. And if you notice, there's this something around it on the border. It looks rough there. So I'm just going to take off the border there. I'm going to use border none to take off the rough. Yeah, it looks smooth right now. And I think we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, okay. Getting right there. I think this is just okay. And by the way, there's a little bit of space away from the logo. And the logo, I think we should increase the height of our logo, the width of our logo a little bit, different from what we have here, and give a little bit of space away from the header. This is the header, this is the main. So we're going to do that right now. So first of all, I'm going to just increase to the image. I'm going to add a little bit, right? And to the main, no, not that image, sorry. It's the header image, right? Okay, to the main, I'm going to add a little bit of margin on top, just to give it some space away from the header. Let's see what we have. Oh, this is too big. And we got our space, but this is too big. Too big. Okay, so what was there before? I think it was 10. So I'm going to use 15 this time around. Oh, I think that's okay. Should I still add a little bit of space? I think it's space. Let me add more space on top, just to make it look like what we have there. To the top, I'm going to give it 3. And I think I just noticed that the space away from the wall is huge. Ours is small, right? So I'm going to add more space, more padding space on the body. I'm going to use 3 EM. And that is okay. And then if you notice, we have horizontal scroll coming up, and we don't need that. We need everything to be fixed without a scroll. We'll work on that. And to work on that, just to reduce, I think I'll just reduce the image, the mock-up image a little bit. Let's see what happens. Okay, the scroll is reducing a little bit, and I'm going to use 30. Still painting a little bit. I'm going to use, okay, flex basis and width does not work together. Either I use flex basis or width. Sometimes it works. Okay, so I'm going to use a flex basis of 40 and flex basis of, let's reduce it down to 30% and see what happens. Still have a scroll. I don't want that scroll. So let me maintain my width. I'll just take off the flex basis and see what happens. It's too big. So I'll go back to my width. Using the width. Okay, so actually the width has more effect than the flex basis. I'm going to use the width. I'm going to just use 50%. And it's too much. I'm going to reduce it to 40. I mean, we still have the footer to add. This is better. I mean, I don't have the horizontal scroll again. And I still need to, I hope, just take a look at the questions. That's not coming up. Why? Okay. Let's work on the footer. I think this is a little bit it. I don't want us to waste time trying to tweak everything. Let's just add everything, then we could always arrange it. I mean, I still have the footer right here to add. If it comes in and it looks better, fine. But if we add the footer, the social link on the footer, and it fits in, okay. We could always tweak anything we want to. So let's add the links here. And these links here, we are going to get ours from Font Awesome here. We're going to get our link from Font Awesome. So there are different sites you can get your icons from. Yeah, icons like the Facebook icons, so many icons, right? So I'm gonna get this from Font Awesome. I'm looking for Facebook icon. We have so many sites like this. So I'm going to just search. Okay, so I have a result here. This one. I'm going to pick this. And there's a guide here on how to add it. So I'm going to copy the HTML code to add it. And I'm just going to go to my footer and add that. Okay, right from my footer and add it. I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones, which is I think Twitter and Instagram. Search for Twitter. I have Twitter here. I will copy this Twitter and I will go here and activate the last one is Instagram. Search for you. And I'm going to get the first one I see there, click on it, and I have this link here to add to my HTML. That is it. Okay, and this will not work. You know why? Let me just show you what it looks like. Can't even find it. It's not there. You know why? Because we didn't use the CDN. So I'm using Font Awesome, and I have to introduce what we call CDN to, I have to link it, just like we link Google Fonts and all the rest. So there's what we call CDN, and since I'm using an external, external work, yeah, an external thing, yeah, so I have to bring in their CDN to link to it to show that I'm trying to get some icons from that platform. So they have what we call CDN. So there's a library for it, CDN Font Awesome library. So I'm just going to copy all. First one I have here. I copy this and I'm going to add it to my HTML, the link tag too. This is what it looks like. Okay. This is a Cloudflare. So I just added it.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you mind just doing that one more time, please?
Okay. Okay. I will just go through that one more time. Okay, stay right there. Okay. We are trying to bring in the icons, that is the social link icons, and you could bring in any icons. I mean, you have so many icons out there, phone icons. So we have different platforms we could use. I think it was posted, it was shown on the style guide, if I can remember. Yes, let's see. There are different, a lot of, I think like 3 platforms. We have Google icons too. So Icon Moon, Ion Icons, Font Awesome, that's what the one I'm using is very popular. So this is where you can get your icons, right? So all you need to do is to go to Font Awesome, type Font Awesome and Google, and open it. There are a lot of icons, you could just use it on your work. So I'm going to search for the icons of interest. I want Facebook icon, right? I want it. And I just click more. I want the Facebook icon. And right here, there are a lot of icons, and the one that's similar to what we're looking for is this. This is also a Facebook icon. So some designers might decide to give you this icon or this icon, but what we have there is this icon, not this, right? Is this icon. So I click on it. And this is what we have. We have different sizes of it, but this is the main one. And this is what we need to add to our HTML. So copy HTML. This is what we need to add to our HTML to have this icon. So I click on it and it's copied. I take it to where I want it. I want it to be on the footer. Right. And I just paste it, Ctrl V. It's copied already, so I just paste and it's there. So I did the same thing for Twitter, Instagram, and I have it right there on my footer. Meanwhile, this won't work because if you just do only that, it won't work because we don't have a link to the external to the platform where we got the icons from, so to say. Right. So we got these icons from Font Awesome. And the Font Awesome has what we call API, right? It has a kind of link you should add to your HTML so that it could communicate and get the font for you. The font you just copied, right? So I just copied this font. And I have to add a link right here on my HTML in the heading tag so that it can communicate with that platform and supply these links, these icons I just copied, right? So to do that is this link right here. You can find the link on Font Awesome CDN. We call it CDN. That's the name of the platform where we are copying the icons from. So I type CDN If you type CDN, you would see, oh yeah, font awesome. You click on the CDN for font awesome. And I copied the first one here. Right, it's for all. So even in font awesome, we have for SVG, we have different, they do other things too. So if you want their CDN, to link it to the HTML so that you can get their icons or whatever they have on their platforms, you will get the links here. So I just used the first one. I added it to my HTML. Sorry. I think I should just close this. Don't get distracted. Okay, so I added it to my HTML right here, the heading on the header. That's where we have the link. And save, and we have it on our page right here. This is what it looks like. Okay, I hope you follow through and you understand better now. And
Thank you.
okay, and I'm going to take this to the right hand side because that's where we have. Oh, close this. That's where we have our links on the right hand side, and it's with a circle, right? And it's white, not black. So we're going to work on the styling for it. I'm going to use the class that's given the already fab. I can see fab and it's common to 3 of them. I'm just going to use fab. I could decide to use the container where it exists dot fab because it's the class. First of all, the color is, which color is it? It's white. So the color is white. And I think I want to increase the size. It's too small. So I'm going to use font size. Increase the size to, I say 100 pixel. Let's see what it looks like when we do that. And what else? And let's see what we have done so far. Oh, this is big and it's white, right? Still big. I'm going to take out of it. So rather than just thinking which size is perfect, just give it a size. You could always from there decide if you need to make it smaller, you need to make it bigger. I think this size is okay. I'm going to use 25. And we are supposed to make it, it should be on the right hand side. So I'm going to use the footer tag to move it to the right hand side. I'm going to use float here. Should I use float? Float will work. Yeah, so I'm going to move it right. Let's see if it works. Oh, it works. So the float is on the right hand side. And it moved to the right hand side and it has space and it has this round thing, right? So the round thing is the border radius. The border radius. The round thing is the border actually. So I'm just going to give it a border of 1 pixel. So you could see it, 1 pixel white. I see white there. Let's see what it looks like before we make it round. So you see it's square, right? So I'm going to give a padding. I'm going to use a padding of 1 EM. I think it's too much, 0.5 EM. And let's see what we have there. Okay, so you see it's square. We added a border, and with this border now we can make it round, right? We can use border radius to make it round. Border radius, make it round, and that'll be 50%. Okay, so it's round, and it's looking big, a bit bigger than what we have here, a little bit. So I'm just going to reduce the size of the padding. I'm going to use 3. Sorry. Okay, I think it's very well. And I'm going to reduce the size of the icons a little bit. Increase this to 4. Okay, 5. minus 25. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think it's better. And we need a little bit of space apart. Too clustered there. So I'm going to use margin right. Okay, 1 in. Oh, what did it do? Too much. Let's use in pixel. 5 pixel. We shouldn't use much. Okay, it worked. So there's a little space apart. Okay. So can we say this looks like it? Or do we need to work on it again? I mean, I don't have the horizontal scroll here. What else can I really do here? I think I could just increase this image size a little bit, right? So let me increase the image size a little bit. I'm talking about this image. This is our work. Talk about this image. Let me increase a little bit. This small. So we have mockup in 20 to 50%. Okay, and it gave me this horizontal scroll. I don't like it. So what can I change? Where can I work on so that I don't have this? We'll decide to use 45 on the image and see if that will go off. Okay, that went off, and this is better. What else again? I think this is just okay, unless you want to keep on tweaking, working on it till you get something perfect, right? And the content, let me increase this a little bit to 40. I want us to go to the responsive side, so I don't want to keep us here. Okay, so let's work on the active state. That's to make this change color when we hover on it. So the active state for the button, we're going to add over. We're going to just copy this quickly since we are trying to target the buttons. We're going to add over to it. Over, and you want the background color to change to, which color is it? I think it's purple. Yeah, blue violet, right? When we hover on it, and also the social link too, right? When we hover on it, we want it to change. We want, oh, I think it should be kind of purple, not this color. Why is that misbehaving? Okay, so we're going to, on the social link too, when we hover on it, we want, I think it's the border that will change the color, and also the icon that will change the color. I remember trying that. The footer, the file, I'm going to add it over here. And we want the border color, when we hover, we want the border color to be the blue, violet, purple, right? And the text itself, the color of the icons itself would also change. Sorry, purple. I also have to change it to purple. Let's see that. Okay. But you know, when I hover on this was purple already, so I have to change the color to white. When I hover on the button, the background color is purple, so it kind of blends with the text. So I have to work on the text too. I want the text to be white when we hover on it. This is that. This is that. That is that. That is that. Okay. 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 I'm glad you're learning. I thought I was the only one who got this. Okay. Okay. Please, what's the difference between flex basis and width? Okay. So we use flex basis when it does the same thing. With flex basis, we are trying to control the width of the item, and it's still the same thing with width. So you could see me walk around. I could use flex basis. I could use width, but you use flex basis only when you have used display flex on the main container. If not, flex basis does not work, right? So on the main container, I use display flex. So my items are on display flex. And I use display basis to control the width, to control the positions, the size of it on the screen. And it does the same thing as width. So you see me trying to use both. Oh, it's easy. I was doing it. What's the difference between flex basis and width? I just answered that. Remember, flex basis, you use it when the main container has display flex on it. If not, it does not work. My background image isn't fitting my screen and I enter the same code, the same CSS code. Why is it not fitting your screen? Okay, play around it. Play around it, just play around it. Maybe after now we could just see it and work together with it. How would you make this using grid? Okay, it's very simple. It's the same thing as grid. Oh god, I don't want to go into grid now, but it's very simple with grid. I'm more proficient. I love flex because easy with flex, but it's the same thing with grid. I mean, with grid, you just have to put the image on this side and the content on the other side. So it's simple. I think for this it's easier with flex. Easier to, yes, it's very hard using the HTML. I think can you use position absolute and relative in your HTML code? You can't use it in the HTML code, but you can use it in the style sheet, right? Could you go over getting the background image for me download? I think I answered that. Okay. Let's just go. I'm still okay. I'm still on week 5 assessment. Okay, so I think I've answered the questions there. And we're about to get into responsiveness right now, and I'm looking at time too because I don't want to keep all of us. I don't want to keep all of us. We still have to push this to keep up. So let's go to responsiveness and yeah, let's do it. So I have this. Okay, to even explain responsiveness further, let's inspect. I trust everybody knows how to inspect your screen. You right click and click on the inspect. So this is what responsiveness is all about. Look at, this is the screen size. We have so many options to pick from here. The screen sizes. And look at this, it's not fine on Galaxy Note 2. It's not fine at all, right? So Nokia Lumia, it's not fine. It's not this not it, right? So I could see different. Oh, this is okay, but it's still not fine. So that's why we have responsiveness, so that we could make it fine on different screen size. iPad, I just picked on iPad and not so nice. Look at this, it's too clustered. But we don't want people to see our page like this. No, I am seeing that ringing. We don't want people to, no, we don't want our page to be like this. Yes, it's fine on the desktop view, but the mobile view, it's not fine. So let's go fix that up. And that's why we have what we call responsiveness. And I'm going to just brush through the ideas we have on responsiveness. I think they talked about it briefly here. Media queries and all the rest. Okay, just going to rush it. Okay, responsive, introduction to responsive web development. I think this is the test. Go back a little, one step back. Okay, so this is it, the code samples. So this is for extra small devices, just different device sizes, different sizes. So this is what we are going to do. And we're just going to add that to our work. We have for our desktop done already. So for mobile size, right? We're going to rest them here. Mobile screen sizes. Okay. First of all, we have different screen sizes. And I'm just going to introduce you to the most popular ones. I mean, if you can handle these two, everything is going to be fine. I think we're going to use W3 School. I hope we are all going to W3 School because it's a very helpful resources. Media query. Yeah, it is very good. So please, I recommend that we all go through W3 School. It really helps. You don't have to cram the styling. Please, you don't have to cram it. If you forget any styling, go to W3 School. There are resources out there too to do that. Okay, so they talked about responsive media queries here. Okay, so what I wanted there. Sorry. So I wanted to show you the two major ones. Here it is. They said, do you wonder why we use exactly 992 pixel and 600 pixel? These are breakpoints. I mean, just like what we have here. Where is it? Yes, this 600 pixel is a breakpoint. I mean, we are looking at any device that has a screen size smaller up to 600 pixel screen size. That's what it means, right? The breakpoint is 600. 768 is a breakpoint. You break with the breakpoint. The 992 is a breakpoint. 1002 is a breakpoint. So they're looking at 992 pixel here and 600. They are what we call typical breakpoints for devices. Typical breakpoints in the sense that if you can handle these two breakpoints, in most cases, your responsiveness will be good for all screens. So we sometimes we try to, we don't want a case that we have to do so many breakpoints. I mean, you can't be doing breakpoints for 1, 2, down to 1,000 screen sizes. But out of people that have worked on responsiveness and have decided, I've also tried it. In fact, it's 992 and 600 I use often times, and it works, right? I use this breakpoint first, and if it doesn't, I don't really get what I want, I can then tweak it. But these are typical breakpoints, and I recommend that you start with it. Okay, so we're going to use this typical breakpoint. 600 is the lowest there, and we're going to just use that. Just going to copy the media query here straight up. Okay, you're looking at screen sizes that are less from 600 pixel less, right? From 1 down to 600, 375 weak pixel, 200, anything less than 600. We're going to work on that screen size now. Okay, so I would use a screen size to help me out to do this very well. And I'm going to inspect and look for a screen size that's less than 600. This is less than 600. But I love using this. It represents a lot of screen size. This Moto C4. You can see it's not fine at all. I'm going to use this to guide me in my styling. So what do we have here? I'm just going to check the logo on the header. It's so small. And meanwhile, I don't know, you can play around with your styling here, right? But then you could always copy it to the style sheet you have on your VS Code. But you're going to use this to just play around and see which one works well before we copy our codes down there. So what I do is, if you click on this icon here, take it to the one the item of interest. Like, just click on this. Okay, you have to make it active. It's active now. I take it here. So it picks the header because it's in the header, right? And I pick the image, and you can see the size is 15. It's too small. I want it more, right? I'm just increasing the size. I think it's fine. Let's see what we have for what we are trying to do, by the way. Yeah, so we're trying to do this now. This is what we're trying to do, a smaller screen size, right? I'm going to take this off. Don't need this anymore. And okay. So I think it's, let's see. Okay, we're there. It's not bad. We're there. So my weight for my image has to change from what it was before to 48 to make it look good on this. So I'm going to change that. And that is in the header image. I remember that's what we used earlier. And I change the weight to what did I change it to here? I change it to 48. Let me make it 50 and see what it looks like. Still okay, 50. Just want to round it up round numbers. So 50%. See, I just saved it and it works here. So let's keep playing around with it. And the image should be on top. Now, why is this like this? Why is this image here and here? Why? Because we use display flex. And we need to remove that flex to free the alignment here. Right? Remember we use display flex on the main? And once I take this off, it breaks. The code breaks. Right? So that means on the main, I have to take off that display flex. I'm going to go to the main, and to take it off, I'm going to use display block. Just stay with me, we're getting there. So that's off. I just saved and that's off, right? So if you can even see what is happening on the inspect here, this is the original one we had here. And look at the screen size we're working with. The main, it's now block, right? So this is cancelled out. Okay. And the next one we want to do is, I think it's the size of this, of the image. We made it at 45. Let's take it off. And 45 is too big. Sorry, and taking it off is too big. So let's just increase it till we get a size that we like. I think this is fine. This one to it. Okay, 100%. It's okay. So the image, that is the main image. Doing this quickly. I want the weight to be 100%. I just checked it out and it's fine. Main image. So this is what happened. It refused. Why? This is at 600, but this one refused to work. If I take this off, it should be like this. So if it refused to work, I'm just going to set this as important because it's very important, right? And it works now. You can see the switch. It's very important. But then it doesn't still change what it looks like on the desktop screen size. It's still the same. But I just indicated that for that screen size, it's important that I get with 100%. That's what I just did. So we're going to continue to the content for this size. And I'm just going to click on it. This is it, and this is the content. The width is too much, so I'm going to take that off. And you can see that just taking off that width made it balanced, right? Okay, so I don't want that width anymore. And I'm just going to take it off. That's on the content. The content. So I want the weight to be 100%. I think I could use with auto here. That will still take it off. Let's try. See what. Yeah. So with auto should have worked too. Okay. What else again? Let's see what it should look like. This is what it should look like, and we need this to be a little bit centered, and our image there, right? and our button rather. So let's use text align centered. You could just use it, try it here and see what it will look like. Does it look like it? A little bit. But are there things we need to reduce like this? Yes, I think so. You need to work on this. So I'm going to reduce the font size for the heading a little bit. It's too big. So that we can get what we want. So I just reduced it. And it's getting to what it should be like. Okay. Right. So what did I do? I reduced this font size to 20, which is the content H2. So I'm going to go to content H2 and indicate the new font size I want for my H2. H2, I want a font size of 20 pixels. And I remember text align centered for the content. Let's have to add that. Text align centered. Okay, for my content. Okay, so I get everything I want. Right, why is it moving this? Okay, balance now. Still moving, we look at that because that's an horizontal scroll. And that could be because of this float. But let's do, okay, we have the icons to be centered here, and we have to work on the buttons too. What do we have for the buttons? You have to increase the width of the button. I'm going to make it 100% and see what happens. Is it 8? Does it look like 8? Okay, I think 100% is too much. I'm going to use, just reduce this to 80. Am I seeing 85, 80? See it reducing right here? 80. It is fine. It is not bad. And I'm going to use a width of 80. I should remember that. And this should be at the center on the footer. So this is footer. And I'm going to take this off. Okay. And I want it to be text align centered. Right. Okay. So my footer should change. There should be no float again for my footer. Don't want float again for my footer. So I'm going to use float none. I don't want a float again. And I want a text align for the footer so that the icons will be at the center, text align center. And I remember my buttons. I made my buttons width to be 80%. I remember. I didn't get my buttons to be 80%. What? My buttons is not 80%. That's what? Okay. Contents. Don't know why it's still 80%, but let's see this. It's going to change. Okay. What's the name? Okay, so we have that. What else do I need to touch right here? What else? What else do I need? And I think I'm just going to reduce the heading a little bit. But these are just little things you want to play around with it. Yeah, I'm just going to reduce this a little bit. And why do I have a horizontal scroll? Okay, maybe I'll check later. And what else again? Is this too much? Is too much? Is the footer too much? Let's see. The main, the footer. Just to see. This too much? What did I use? I think I'll just going to reduce this to 1. I think 2 is better. So the content, I'm going to change the margin to 2em also. I just like, working on it so it looks beautiful and better. And the content, I'm going to use 2E in also. Yeah. Authors again. I think I changed the main margin top. I remember it was margin top from 2 EM, from 3 to 2 EM. Let's see what we had earlier. We had margin top 3 AM. So I just reduced it by 1 for this view. Okay. Okay, let's see this. I think it looks like it. Or is there something else we should do? Is there something else we should do? I think this is better for me. It's okay for me. Should we use the height? It's okay. We with the padding and see what happens. Okay. Okay, I think this is okay. Let's look at our desktop. Nothing. Oh, it changed some things in our desktop. What did it change? The width and this. Okay, so we need to work on that because it changed some things. And what did it change? The buttons, the width of the container. This is the main display block. Let me take this out and see. Okay, so it changed what? I'm going to copy this to the top of our screen and see if that's the reason. Copy down the here. See if that's not changed. Okay, that did not change. Okay, so we have to see why it made changes to our desktop view and try to work around it. The float clear is now at the center. And footer none. So what we need to do is, I would go to this, the one on the desktop, and set it to important. Yes. I wish that thing did it change there. So it's back to where it was before. And the buttons, I want the button to be how it is. Don't change it. I'm going to use important here. Okay, so what else? I think the height too. Something happened to the height of the content. I'm going to use important here. I want it to be important for me. Okay, so I got back what I needed. Yeah, I think this is what we did. And this is my size. Let's look at the view we just finished, and it's still okay. So this also changed because I set it to important. Okay, so in that case, where's my height? I'm going to use important here too. So they will both know that they are both important. Okay, so that changed. And could you use text center? It's equally important for me here. Okay, the buttons. The buttons is equally important. Where is it? This is it. So sometimes it may just behave this way. Wow, some things changed. we're going to take a look at that. Okay. Let's see. We're just going to start from the top to see. Okay. The body padding 600 pixel, 30 at media only screen, at media only. Okay, actually let me use at media only screen here. Do I need to, yeah, only screen max weight. I think that's what caused all this importance. Let me take off the importance. I think I missed that out. I think that's what caused all of this. Take that out. Sometimes when you're trying to work on responsiveness like that, things like that might happen. And you might want to set some things as important just to emphasize that you need it to be done. You need it to be how you set it. So I'm taking out the importance there. I think someone wants to say something. Okay.
Yeah, hi, Andy. Sorry, please, can I quickly say something?
Okay.
Check your line 106. It's outside the media query.
Sorry? I didn't get that.
06. Outside the media query.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh my God. Thank you very much. I see. Oh my God, thank you. That was outside the media query and I was suffering and setting importance everywhere. Oh my God. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Huh? And I was God, help me. Okay, so I think everything is okay except the image. Let's look at it. So right, I really have to set importance for the image and nothing didn't really change much. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. That's the image. Okay, so what happened is that I didn't have the bracket completely covered, like to cover all my codes, so just halfway. I didn't notice that. Thank you. I want to set this important here. Okay. Should be this with sorry, markup image, not display, sorry. Markup image. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the desktop. So you do your work. I think it's okay now. Check every view because you're working on the desktop view. So you're working on the mobile view. It might affect the desktop view, right? So you have to check and be sure they're all okay on both ends. Thank you very much. I'll keep saying thank you. Okay, I think we are okay for this size. So let me just check by the way the sizes that are within the 600. So I just check Galaxy Note, it's fine. Galaxy Note 2 is fine. This is above 640, right? So you could see it's still like the other design we had, okay, because it's above 640, it's above 600. You have less than, and this is okay. Which one? Galaxy S5, they are less than iPhone, less than, and you see it's not bad. It's not bad, it's okay. And also, if you don't like it, you could decide to still give a breakpoint here, but if we could just let it go, fine. It's not so scattered like before. Okay, you see that? They're all less than 600, and fine. For smaller screen size, you might want to also adjust. iPad, this is more than 600. You see it's like the previous one. Okay, so I love to use this. So I think for that we've fixed a lot there for that screen size. So let's use the next breakpoint, which should be 992. Remember when we talked about it on the W3 school, it was 600 and 992. So let's use the second breakpoint. Sorry, I got disconnected for a few minutes. I don't know what happened. I just reconnected again. Okay, so let's continue. I was talking about the next breakpoint, which is 992. Okay, and let's look at it. And for that, I think we're going to let's use iPad this screen size. Yes, to try and fix things up. Okay, 992. Let's just use that. And to fix things up, we're still going to have a break here. Definitely. Like, I mean, is this fine? This is not fine to me. Still clustered here. So I still want to break it. I still want to break it, right? And let me use iPad Pro. This is okay, not bad. And iPad is a little bit shrink. What can I do here? I think I can. Now I'll be thinking if I should break it the other way or I should leave it this way. No, it all depends on preference, but just do what is beautiful. Right, so I think I'm going to break this. So what I'm going to do is to break it. I'm going to just, it's in the main. I'm going to break the flex into block, and I'm going to increase the size of the image to this, right? So it's going to look like this on iPad, and also I'm going to do this to the width. It's almost the same thing that we did to the other screen size. Okay, I'm just going to have something like this, right? Something like this for the screen size, for the ones that are above 662. Meanwhile, I could decide to extend what I have here. Okay, I could decide to just extend it to 992 and see what happens, right? For this previous styling I did. And this is what it worked for the iPad, which is higher than the 662. Remember, I just increased it to 992. So all the designs, all the codes here works for screen size up to 992. So this is okay, right? And let's see for the other view. This is not bad. So it still works for both sides, right? So it's possible. It depends on the design, though. So you see, it still works. And I don't have the horizontal scroll. Now I was trying to do this and it was moving horizontally. The vertical is okay because of the length of the items. If you want it just fixed, it would always reduce the sizes and the font size and everything. So let's look at iPad, and it's not bad, except the logo here. I think it's too big. So feel free to play around it, and I think I'll just keep it. I'll take it back at 60 and do a different thing for the iPad view. I'm going to use the main. I'm going to take off the display flex and give it a display block. First of all. So some of the codes are going to repeat itself, but then you will clear things out. So this is now flex, and I want this to be 100%. That's the image in the main. I want it to be at 100%. So I'm going to give the width of 100%, right? It should be like this. So I'm going to take this up. This should have text for this. I'm about to close this. So sometimes I notice that the position also matters. It also affects it. Okay, so I'm going to give the width. Where did I get that error from? The width. Let me save that and see if there was a cause of it. No. So I have to set importance for the width. The width seems to be very funny. So if you notice, I just copied the 992 up a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to set this to importance. Yep. I'll be fast so that we can get to host this. Okay, so this is okay. I mean, well, let me check for the other sides. Okay, so everything is still fine here. Let's see for our desktop. Still fine. Was it like this? I think, yeah, that's what we had. Yeah. So everything is okay for that size. So let's continue with the iPad design. And this, the weight is too much right here. It's too packed up right here. I'm going to reduce the width of the content to something like this. And that will be just fine. And I would want to maybe increase the font size for the paragraph, but let me just work on the content. I'm going to use a width of 100% here. Okay. I might decide to just increase the font here a little bit. Let's see. Let's play around with it and see what happens. Okay, you might like it this way. And that's the content for the H2. And also the font size for this, right? It's fine, not bad. Or I think I'll make it smaller a little bit. Okay, that's how I play around with it. Font size 18 for the P tag, and what do we have for the heading tag? 47. So I'm just going to do that. Add content here for the H2, and I gave a font size of 47. If you remember, 47 pixels. Let me take this up a little bit. And also I did the same thing for the P tag. This will kind of affect the screen size below, but let's see what will happen. Okay, this is not bad. Okay, so you can play around with the screen size based on the breakpoint. Let me see what happens here. So this is still okay. I think this is what we did. We put this at the center. When I go to my iPad view, I get this. Not bad. And when I go to my desktop view, I get this. Do I have a question? Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, so what can we do next? Okay, so based on what we have done so far, you can start posting your questions. So I could take them up and we'll push this to GitHub immediately. So it's all about playing around with your styling. If you don't want this to be too big, we'll reduce it. Okay, so whatever you like. And also, look at our image, right? In the header, we want it bigger for the iPad. I mean, it's too small there. So I like this. Okay, I'm going to make it 30. I'm going to make it 30 right here. So I'm going to make it 30, and that is in the header. The header image, and the header should not have this image. I want the width to be 30 here percent. Okay, so let me see for my for this. Okay, everything looks fine, and for my desktop, I think everything looks fine. So I've worked for 3 screens right now, and they are kind of really encompassing. This is okay for iPad Pro, Surface Duo, still fine. It's not bad. Look at that, right? And Pixel 2 smaller, it's okay. So I used 2 breakpoints, and you could see that at least majority of the screens are they're very good. They're nice for viewing. They're not scattered. Okay. And what else would I want to do here? Oh, I think please questions. Are there questions here? Okay. Okay. Do you always have to do 2 separate media tags, create media tags for each popular platform, or can you just increase the width to the iPad's 94 media? Yes, you can increase the width. Like what I did before, you know, this was 600. I just increased the width here to 992, and it worked from from screen size down to 992, right? But there are some designs that you might want, okay, a specific styling for this screen size and the iPad, a little bit of sway there, so you then break them per breakpoint. But if you want to increase it, right, to 992, you're free to increase it. Okay. And if you want to have different styling per breakpoint, that's per different screen, you have to break it down. Yes, you have to indicate that, okay, for this screen size, this is what styles I want to see there, right? For this screen size, this is the style that I want to see there. So yeah, you can do that. Okay, enjoy, Pierre. I think we are almost through, and this is 2 hours. I'm just going to push this to GitHub. I hope you learned a lot of things from the live section. So I'm just going to push this to GitHub quickly and post it immediately. So for those of us that have challenges there, so this is fine. This is okay. This is okay. So I'm going to push my code to GitHub. Are there questions? I don't want to keep anyone waiting again. So let's do this quickly. Let's push this to GitHub. We've done everything. Okay, to push to GitHub, I'll go to you need your GitHub account. I'll go to github.com, my account. I'm going to create a repository there where I'm going to push my code to. I'm going to call this responsiveness. Okay, Pierre, no problem. I'm going to call this responsiveness. Any repository name of your choice is good. So I'm going to make it public because I want the mentors to grade me. And I'll just go ahead and create a repository where I'll be pushing my files to. Right. So for you to do this, you must have Git Bash. I trust you have Git Bash installed. And I'm just going to push this. I'll go to the terminal, new terminal. I hope I'm not too fast here. I don't want to be too fast here. Okay. So I went to the terminal, I click new terminal, and I have this. This is still loading, okay? Okay. So I'm going to initialize this file. Initializing means like I'm going to bring in Git to it, right? So it does not have Git here. We are going to push it to GitHub. So I'm going to initialize it by using git init. I just did that. And next thing I'm going to, you could see the changes. See what just happened? Yeah, so just, it shows that Git has been added to this and we're ready to push it to GitHub. The next thing I'm going to do is Git status. So this shows in red because I've not pushed them, because Git do not recognize these files. So I have to add it by typing git add space dot to add all the files. So I'm going to check again the status after I've added, and they are all in green, showing that I've added them, right? So next thing I'm going to do now is to commit my files. Pick this up again. I'm going to type git commit. You must add a message to your commit. We're going to type initial commit. Any commit message is okay, right? Any message is okay. Git commit -m the message. I enter, and that shows that my message have been committed. Okay, my files are committed. I'm going to move this. And the next thing is to, because this is the first time we are pushing these files to Git, so we need to do some settings. And this is a guide. I've done Git init already. The Git admin, it's optional, just to have a README file that kind of describe your work. It's optional. I've done Git commit. I've done it already. And Git branch. I'm going to do this. Why? Because by default, my files are in the master branch. How do I know? If I type Git branch, is in master. Right, you can see the Git branch master. But if I go to my repo, the branch there is in main. The branch in my repository right here in GitHub is in the main branch. Right. So I'm going to show you after this. It's in the main branch. So I'm going to use this code right there. I just copied it. I'm going to use that code to switch my files here to the main branch so that I can push it directly to what I have on the repo. So I'm going to type that code there, git branch -main. So it's switched now. I could just confirm it by typing git branch again. And you could see I'm now in the main branch on my for my files on the desktop, right? For my files here, because I've not pushed it to repo. I've switched from master to main here on my desktop here. Okay, so the next thing to do is to add this line of code. So this link here is the link to our repository, and this line of code is just basically telling Git, okay, connect this repository, remote add origin. This is the origin, and this is the link, right? I just copied it. I'm going to do that. So these things are the things you're going to do when you just initialize your files for Git, right? Just a little bit of settings. And the last thing will be git push origin to main. So push my files to the origin main, the main branch. Okay, and my files are going to be pushed Okay, yes. So it's pushed to the repository here. And if I refresh, I'm going to refresh this, and there it is. My files are right here now. You can see that they are right here on the repository. Okay, so if I make changes, right? If I make changes here, if I make changes to my work, let's just say I made some changes to my files. I'm going to minimize this. I just say I made some changes. If I made some changes, I don't have to do this again. I don't have to do git branch -a main. I don't have to do it again. Once I commit my file, right? I don't have to do git init again. No. All I have to do is just to add. Okay, let me just do it quickly. Well, let's just say we made some change. Let's just change the color of let's change the color of our button, something that's obvious. Sorry, the button. Okay, the color is purple here. Let's just say I change it to brown. Okay, I change it to brown. I've made changes on my work. I mean, what I push to the repository, it's still there, but I just make changes. And I'm going to view this on the live server to see the changes. So the color is no. Let me give it something obvious. It's still purple. So the over, let's change it to brown. When I over on it, I want it to be brown, not purple again. Sorry. And this is it. It's now brown, right? So I've made changes to my code. And I want to push this. I want to push the changes to GitHub. So you can close this. Maybe you had closed it and you came back to, to make changes based on corrections. You could still open a new one and it's still going to be fine. You'll continue from where you stopped. So I made changes and I just opened the terminal to continue. And I'm going to type git status to see that you can see this, that Git knows that these files exist on my repository, but I've made changes to a particular file. And it shows the modified style.css. I didn't do anything to the index. That's why it's not showed here. I just changed something in the styling, right? So assuming I changed something in the index, it would have been shown here too that I've modified the index. So all I have to do is just to git add. You can decide to use the name directly, git add.css, or you can decide to do git add space. Anyone works, right? Because this is just one, I can use git style.css and it's still going to work fine. So let's just use git status to see how far. You could see it's now green because we have added it. If you notice, I didn't have to do git init again. Remember I said that Git already recognizes that this is already existing in a repository. So I just did git add. Next thing will be git commit with a message. Let's give the message update. Just updated something, right? One file has been changed. And I'll simply git push. You don't have to do the branch, git branch main, or git add remote the link again, or git push origin. You don't have to do that again, right? So subsequent times after your first push, you just have to do your git add, commit, and push. So this has pushed to the repository, and we can see that once I refresh, we should see the update. Okay, come on. Okay, so this update, you can see the style sheet has been updated, right? So that's all that needs to be done. And I'm going to host this using GitHub Pages. And to do that, I go to settings. in yesterday's section, I mentioned that, okay, let me just finish this up. I'll look at questions. Settings. I need this to be fast. I mentioned that you must have an index.html in your file, right? For it to work, for it to host. So we have an index.html file there. Okay, so we are in the settings and we want to host using GitHub pages. So I click here, GitHub pages, check it here. And I'm going to change this from none to main because it's in the main branch. I'm going to save this. Okay, so my site is ready to be published at this site. Right. I just want to be sure you're all hearing me. Okay, it's going to be available very soon. So it's been hosted. I'm just going to go back to my code and try and view it on GitHub pages here. I'm going to click that and it's been deployed. I'm going to view, I'll refresh this and I'm going to view my deployment. Right, so that's how we successfully deploy this. And the update is also there. Remember that I made changes, okay? So we have successfully deployed. And also when you make changes and you push to your GitHub, you don't have to, set up GitHub pages again. It automatically deploy, right? Like your update deploys automatically, right? You don't have to do GitHub pages again. Okay, I think we have done a lot today, and I hope I was not too fast because of the time. Please, let's talk about, if you have questions, okay? Please, let's talk about your challenges now. If you have questions, we could talk about it in the few minutes before we go off. I know I've taken 2 hours already. I hope it was worth it, honestly. I hope it was worth it. Also, the recordings will be available soon. What's the purpose of GitHub pages? So the purpose of GitHub pages is to have a live site, right? To generate a live site where you could share this with anyone. I mean, I'll just share this or send this on the screen and you can view this with your phone, right? So I just generate a site where I could share it with anyone. I will drop this here on the chat and you can view this right now on your phone, on any device. That's why we have GitHub pages, so that you could get to see your work. Not just other people can see your work too, your live work, not the one on your desktop. So please, I've not been able to download GitHub because of my kind. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, I think any other questions, or we can just go off here. I'm going to save this section so that if you want to go through it again, it's okay. Okay, thank you, thank you. Oh, I sent it to one person. Oh, sorry. To everyone. Sorry. Okay, so that's the link. Yeah, so this is what you get to submit on your tax, right? So this is what your mentor will see to grade you, right? Okay. Okay, no problem, Linda. We're going to go through it, let's say tomorrow. Go through it together. I hope this was helpful. Okay. I think, does anyone want to say something? Did I mute everyone? I think you can say something. I'll just stop recording so that we could have a chat time. Okay.